YouTubers, I usually don't make too many videos on this, but I figure as many as these Brownies I've been servicing as of late, I figured I'd go ahead and make a video on pretty much a service that I do on most of these older units. When they come in here, I get a lot of them in here for realignment and things of that nature. And basically the service that I provide, I just go through the whole daggone radio, check everything out, make sure everything's good, clean up all the controls on it, you know, clean them, then re-lubricate them, get them back to factory. Your little phono plug, or the spot plug, I'm sorry, I'll take a relay file and I'll clean the contacts up in there, and I'll pull the contacts out, clean them all up. I mean, these are very old radios, you know, we're talking 40 years. And then I go through, check out all the resistors and caps in it. If anything needs to be replaced, we do it. Pull all the tubes, I test all the tubes. Now what I usually do is I'll pull out my small tube tester, which is this right here, and then if I see any kind of issues with the tube, I'll pull out my bigger one, which normally I don't usually have to pull out the big one too often. But basically I got both units here, and I figured I'd go ahead and just make a video of them. You know, I'm servicing them now. I've already pulled all the tubes, checked all the tubes. Everything is kosher with that. I did have to replace one tube in this particular unit. The last one I serviced earlier this morning, that actually needed two tubes. This particular unit also, we had to replace one of the caps in it right here. So that's already been done. As far as everything else in the unit, looks pretty good. I'm in the process right now of cleaning all the knobs, and once I get that done, I'll fire it up and realign it per the service manual. Because everything on these radios, you really don't want to get in here going too crazy or nothing with a Brownie radio. So you put it back factory fresh and adjust it from there accordingly. You know, these mods and stuff like that some of these guys do on these radios, depending on the mod, depends on if it's worth it or not. You're talking a radio that's so old, they're harder and harder to get parts for, so you got to watch it. But just a little hint, whenever I clean up any of my controls, this is what I use. I picked this up over at the local hardware store. It's a lot cheaper than buying that stuff from Radio Shack or offline. You can pick this bottle up right here for like $5, and then you have to have this to go with it. Okay, so it's 2 cans, and this one's probably $4. This is the lubricant, the control lubricant, and you use this on relays, controls, and stuff like that. So I pick up these 2 bottles. They'll last me for a while versus that little bottle that Radio Shack sells of contact cleaner and lubricant. That's like 15 bucks. So, you know, you get a little bit better deal when you buy it this way in more quantity. But this is what we're doing, servicing a Brownie. We'll be back with an update when I finish aligning it. To the Brownie, I'm finished up with it, went through, did a complete service on this unit. Basically, I'll give you a rundown of what I do when I service one of these when somebody brings them in for servicing. Basically, I pull every tube in the units, test every single one of them to make sure we have good tubes in it. On these old units here, I'll explain something. You don't want to go in there realigning these radios on weak or bad tubes, because then you can just screw the tune all up. I mean, and they're really, really funny about that. So you really got to pay attention to what you're doing with these. And one of the first things I always do before I do anything on the radios is I pull the tubes and I test them all to make sure that everything is good to go. Other than that, I clean every single control on it. Okay, deox them, and then I re-lubricate them. The relays that are in these units, which they have relays in them, I pull the relays out, I clean all the contacts on them. I have a contact file basically made strictly for contacts, and I clean the contacts, then I clean those and I re-lubricate those also. Other things I do on it, you know, basically just make sure everything's on frequency. Get these units, because the old tube units are really, really sometimes hard to get dead nuts on, and I'm kind of a frequency freak anyways, but normally, you know, that's one of the things that I try to do. Other than that, you know, go through if they need light bulbs, whatever, you know, we give it a complete run through and service, and basically that's what these units were brought in for. The guy hasn't used them in a few years, and he wanted to have them all checked up before we put them back into service. So this is what we got. You know, Brownie. I just got a stock mic on it right now. One that I've got wired up for Brownies when I service these. and there's your ping. Of course, your on the air is on there. We'll go through a little rundown of what we got here. As you see, we're pretty much dead nuts on the frequency. I'm not going to worry about the last digit too much because most radios are broadbanded, so it's as close as I could really have possibly gotten it. Right now it's dead keying about 5, and yeah, as you see, it's got a little forward swing, so it's about 6 birds and 1 watt, and that's really what you want with these tube units. You want at least a little bit of forward swing out of them. You don't want them to dead key their hearts out and not have no RMS swing. Peak, we're on the 10 watt scale. So as you see, it's knocking that out. So we'll go up to the 50. Yeah. So on the 50, it's about a good maybe 17 on RMS peak. And if we really want to get fruity about it, I'll show you some bird peak. I just hit the peak in. We're on a 50 watt slug, by the way. Yeah. So about a good 22, 23 out of it. Real nice units. They turned out really good. You know, like I said, they're in really good shape. So I sure hope the fellas, he should be happy with it. But the only thing I believe I still have left to do on this unit is the marker plate. I didn't get to that yet. I still got to get to that, and it pretty much goes right there. So we're gonna re-epoxy that. I got to mix up some epoxy, and I'm gonna re-epoxy it, and should be factory fresh. But there you go. We do service Brownings too. We do a lot of things here at the No Name shop. If there's anything that you're ever interested in or want to know, please give us a call. We'll be more than happy to talk to you on the phone and let you know what our services are. Have a great day. Stickman at the No Name MCB shop, and I'm gone.